All right, good morning. Hello, bonjour, bienvenue, gwe, atelahai. Welcome, everyone, to our monthly coffee break. I'm Carol Spicer with Spicer Facilitation. I think all of you folks knew me. I'm not sure if you all know one another, but we'll get you to do a quick intro for our guest in a moment. Um, I do want to thank you for joining our community this morning. This is your community. It is um, I don't know. It's a space that I like to create to bring people together. The coffee shop in person is great. However, not everyone can always get to that. And the option of creating the virtual space allows us to bring people from all parts of the province. And lately, we've had some folks join us from Nova Scotia. So it just kind of broadens our connections and gives us some different thinking. And really, the purpose of the coffee break is just for that. It's about sharing. It's about building relationships. It's about getting your message out and letting folks know who you are. And I know that I've had folks in support organizations say, I'm still meeting people through your coffee break that, I think I know everyone in the region, and all of a sudden I meet somebody new. So I think that's really important to do that. So as we think about from where we're joining from, I'm going to take a moment to acknowledge that I'm joining you from the unceded territory, which is known today as Pasadena on the west coast of Newfoundland and Labrador. So I like to always say I'm on the west coast of the East Coast because I have run into a meeting where I said to somebody I was from the West Coast and they were in Vancouver. And I'm like, no, 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 I'm not on that West Coast. I'm on the West Coast of the East Coast. Just take a moment and think about where you're joining us from and the lands that you are on, and that we should always be stewards, good stewards of the land, and think about those that have come before us and those that are continuing to protect the lands. We just had celebrations on Sunday of Indigenous Peoples Day. And in our province, we do have four Indigenous populations, the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, the Innu. Actually, we have five, the Southern Labrador Inuit and the Inuit. Thank you for that. So I'm really excited to welcome you to this month's coffee break. And I'm going to ask you to do a quick intro for our guest, Kelly. So Kelly, I'll ask you to do your intro last as you lead us into your presentation. I am going to admit, because Delphine is here from Nova Scotia and a coffee talk that I go to on Thursday mornings, I stole this suggestion from a coffee talk that I was with them. And it was about brand marketing versus brand identity versus brand personality. And we had some really good conversations about it. And so I reached out to Kelly and she was all over it. She said, yep, I'd love to talk about it. So that's kind of how we got to today. So Kelly, I think you know most folks, but in case they don't know one another, and Delphine is new to our group, so we'll get everyone to introduce. I'm just going to do the Brady Bunch screen on the way you guys are on my screen. So Sharon, you're going to be up first, and then Barry. If you want to let us know who you are. Kelly, do you have a question or anything you want them to answer about marketing while they're doing their intros?
Um, if they'd like to, but I think we've got some questions for at the end would be,
Okay, we'll do it
yeah.
then. So if you want to start, Sharon, let us know who you are, where you're located, and a little bit about what you do.
Good morning from sunny Pasadena, Newfoundland, Labrador. Imagine from snow, almost snow, to this is beautiful.
We did
So
have
I'm
frost warning
Sharon.
last night.
We did. And when I walked this morning, all the flowers are covered in bags and stuff, but we didn't get it, which was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm Sharon Evans, for anybody that I haven't met before. I own and operate Siva Meditation. It's a meditation mindfulness business that I've been operating out of Pasadena, but I move all around the island and beyond virtually, and I absolutely love it. So I'm thrilled to be here this evening or this morning. It's still night in my mind. I'm thrilled to be here this morning, Kelly, and listen to your speech this morning. Your speak on branding, because I'm interested in that too. So onward and upward from here. Thanks a million.
Thank you. Barry and then Marie Renee.
Yeah, so my name is Barry Lewis Green. There's a whole story why I include Lewis. It's not to be pretentious, but it is to honor my granddad, who I only in the last 20 years found out I was named after. My work has been for the last 30 years as a college business educator, but also as a professional speaker, a fellow member of CAPS, Carol. So, and being in that organization for 22 years, but my real passion is exploring the role that character plays in leadership and advancing that.
Okay, Marie joining us from Barrie.
Oh, sorry, the Pearl, Mount Pearl.
There you go. Excellent. Thank you. Marie Renee and then Miranda.
Good morning. Super happy to be at the coffee break. I participated before, but I feel like it's been a while scheduled and lined up when that happens. So I'm very happy to be back here. My name is Marie. I work for Horizon TNL. It's a bilingual nonprofit in Newfoundland and Labrador. I live in Corner Brook on the west coast of Newfoundland, but right now I'm in the basement apartment, the basement at my parents in Quebec, just visiting. So we do a lot of entrepreneurship, employability, economic immigration, employment assistance. Can't speak this morning. I need more coffee. And tourism. And I take care of a program. It's a business succession program that's bilingual for women. And we help them purchase businesses, or if they just purchase one, we help them integrate and great things like that.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, it's early for you. We'll forgive you if you're up in Quebec time. Miranda and then Delphine.
Hi, I'm Miranda Adams. I'm the sales director here at was formerly Holiday Inn Express in Deer Lake, and now it's Deer Lake Horizon Hotel. Yes, and we have a bus tour from Quebec actually that came in yesterday, and they're having their breakfast now. So yes, and then lunch this afternoon. So we'll be busy with them. I'm very interested in today's session, just to have a great topic, actually, I think, after not sure where it's going to be headed, but we just rebranded and we're into another brand under Best Western. So we've had all sorts of fun doing that rebrand. But anyway, summer's here. It's nice here in Deer Lake as well this morning.
Yes, it is. I figure it's summer coming when I can get the tank top out. Sharon's done meditation on the beach last night. Carm's doing yoga on the beach tonight. So we're here. This is it. So yes, lovely weather. Delphine, what's it like over your way?
Okay, my name is Delphine Dutoit. Je parle un petit peu français. My mother tongue is actually Afrikaans. I'm originally from South Africa. I live on the eastern shore, Nova Scotia. And I just had to go and put on something warmer because, of course, it's summer in Nova Scotia. The weather changes every 10 minutes. My interest here is the branding issue. It's a difficulty for me. I am my brand. I work as a conflict resolution consultant, and I operate as a sole proprietor, so I don't have a separate brand name. My business coach told me I had such a nice name I should use it. But so my dilemma is ego versus branding. I feel really awkward about promoting myself. So draw a distinction between my services that I offer and me, the person, is a difficulty. And then I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur. I'm also in business with my son in BC. We run a business developing AI voice agents. And so we've got names for products and so on, but there too is a branding issue. And if you're at all curious, if you go to my website, you phone my business number, you will speak to my AI voice agent called Tony. And you will be surprised at how human Tony sounds. But Tony's also very well trained and programmed not to be an idiot and not to violate your privacy. So that's me. I'm really looking forward to learning stuff here today.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. That just makes me think of years ago, I worked in Bell Canada, and Bell was one of the first ones that I knew of that had welcome, I'm Emily, I'm here to help you. And that was years before, we kind of went into this world that we're in right now. And we actually had one of our staff members named Emily, and that was, her legitimate name, but she decided to start using a different name because when people were getting so mad at Emily the machine, that when they actually got her, they started attacking her, and I felt so bad for her because like it's her name, it's her identity, but that was long before we were comfortable speaking to machines like we are now, Delphine. So interesting that you've got Tony there for you. That's awesome.
And
Uh,
ironically, I wish Bell would pay attention to the product that we've created, because what they have is so clunky and user unfriendly.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Totally agree with you on that one.
yeah.
Um, Excellent. Thank you and welcome. So glad you could join us. And Carmelita, to wrap up with you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here in the beautiful town of Deer Lake, as is Miranda. And yes, it is a gorgeous day here. I own and operate Karma Yoga with Carmelita Morgan, and finished up all of my regular classes last month. And now I'm focusing on my beach yoga for the summer. And yes, Carol, I start this evening, 7 o'clock, Deer Lake Beach. Anyone wants to come and join us? It's going to be a beautiful evening. Calls for 22, so that sounds good to me. And we have a beautiful spot there on the beach, just absolutely beautiful, under two beautiful big trees that the wind flows through, and you're overlooking Deer Lake, which is great.
Yep.
So yeah, so this time of year is kind of slow for me, but that's intentional because I work from January right on to May, and from September to December. So my only little break is in the summer. I do have a couple of just one-off projects this summer, and I'm looking forward to them. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing now.
Excellent. Thank you. And so Kelly is our guest. Kelly is also based here in Pasadena. Oh, Donna just snuck in. So Donna, we're just doing your perfect timing. We're just doing introductions and we're about to kick off the presentation. So I'll ask you to introduce yourself, let folks know who you are and where you are.
Did I miss everybody else?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm still in training. I'm only in Nova Scotia. I'm from Newfoundland, but my computer still brought it up as 9:30 this morning. So I'm just getting ready to log on. And I realized, oh, damn, like I got to be back home a half hour, not ahead of the time. Anyhow, my name is Donna Smith. I am in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I'm still the new, I purchased BNI, which is a networking organization globally around the world. But I have a little touch of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and PEI. No Newfoundland yet, so that'll be my goal eventually, because I've told Carol many times being home is why I decided to jump on this call, so I can feel that I'm in your backyard, but I'm just a little ways across the water. Thank you. Sorry I missed everybody's. I'll get it right next month.
That's okay. You can always check the recording after, or people will talk today and you'll get a sense of who we all are. So Kelly is here from Bee's Knees Event Planning and Marketing. Kelly, I think I want to reiterate a little bit of what Delphine said, because we do have 3 or 4 of us are solopreneurs, and I'm sure that Marie and Donna work with a lot of solopreneurs as well. And so I was telling them, Donna, I stole this topic from our coffee break over in Coffee Talk about brand identity versus brand personality. Because I think there is that fine line of when you're the business, when you're the face of the business. I mean, I would say in my dealings with Barry, Barry has a big personality, but is that his brand personality, right? And I say that with all love, Barry. It's not a criticism, right? But like, where does that all draw in? So I'm really excited that Kelly's here with us today to give us her perspective. So Kelly, I'll turn it over to you. You can introduce anything else you want to add and take it away.
All right, I'm Kelly Lannon. I'm kind of looking this way because I have 2 screens going, and I always look at the screen and not the camera. So if you see me looking sideways, sorry. I do have a business, Bee's Knees Event Planning and Marketing. I focus heavily on the event planning, and I haven't focused so much on the marketing, although this year that's going to change because I think I'm going to try to move a little more into that light. I took a big leap about 6 years ago and went back to school because I had always done event planning, but I didn't have any certification. So I went back to school at the ripe old age of 50 and did a Bachelor of Business in Marketing. So here I am. I can't say that I'm an expert in it, but I have some opinions and I have some ideas. So take it as you will. So I have a very small presentation, not very big. It's mostly to generate discussion. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully this works again. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So we're talking about brand identity versus brand personality. And when Carol asked me about this, I was actually in Edmonton and I'm like, yeah, I know all kinds of stuff about that because as an entrepreneur and especially a solo entrepreneur, most of our businesses are us, the business people that are there. So what is your identity versus what is your personality, and what is your business's identity versus your business's personality? Those are all four different things, but as an entrepreneur, especially a solo entrepreneur, you put them all together into one package. So what is the difference? So the brand identity is what people see, and the brand personality is what people feel. So what I've learned, what I've been told, what I know is that we are drawn to things that align with us personally. So our values and, you know, do we like to have fun? Then we're going to, find the fun businesses. If we like to be, if we do meditation, we want to find the calm businesses. Do you know what I mean? So the personality is the business. And what is the difference? Think of it this way. Identity is the outfit and the personality is the person wearing it. And you can have lots of different people. I'm sure you've seen all the pictures of somebody going to a wedding, showing up in the exact same dress as somebody else. It's the exact same dress, but the person wearing it wears it completely different, just like in this picture that I have. So both of those things matter. One gets your attention and one builds the connection. Now, this is not the one that I had up there. So anyway, brand identity is the visual side of your business. The logo, the color, the fonts, the websites. But the identity creates the recognition. It tells people the who we are. I'll see, 2 slides, the exact same thing. I love technology sometimes. So when people talk about your business, that's the gist of my presentation. So now we're going to get into the discussion part of it. So when people talk about your business, when you're not in the room, what 3 words do you hope they say? So does anybody have any conversation, any ideas, any input they'd like to add?
Wow,
Are you asking us to answer?
Yep.
Oh,
that's a powerful
Um,
question.
yeah,
It
it
is.
is.
They say we're friendly and warm and welcoming. We have a video I just finished up. I'm putting it out today, hopefully. And it just kind of captures everything that we are and that we want to be and we hope to be in this video. I'm sure you guys will see it when it goes out today.
I look forward to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know a big one for me is like around ethics, professional confidentiality. When I'm with a client, that they know that they can trust. I guess trust is a big word for
Trust.
me.
Yep.
I think too, Carol, you nailed it there. And that's something that you build with your clients, right? Over time. But I
Mhm.
guess for me, it's also professional, but not preachy, like warm and welcoming and grounding. And, I guess for the meditation part of it, you want it to be a spiritual process, and you want to make the distinctions between that and the religious. And then I try to be soft, but I have to be strong in some areas and firm. So, and heart-led, I guess that's some of the things. Yep. I meant to say Kelly. I'm so used to saying Carol. Sorry about that, Kel.
Anyone else have anything that comes to mind?
Go ahead, Carolina.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, you know, I hope when they hear my name or think about me that they that wellness comes to mind, and self-care, balance, and also you know, that they think, okay, this is all about aging well. This is all about keeping us moving in a safe and supportive way, helping us to breathe, to calm, to slow down, and to remind ourselves from time to time that how important our business is, but it's only a part of our life, and not to let the other important parts of our life go by to just focus on our business. That's a very big thing with me, balance. So I hope they know that about me, or they learn it about me when they get to know me.
Excellent. Delphine and then Barry.
Okay. I have 3 words. Insightful, helpful, respectful. But then I have 3 alternate words. Wise old lady.
I love it.
Part of my thinking about branding is converting ageism into appreciation for wisdom and experience. Not that I'm claiming that I'm wise, but I'm on the path.
There is something to be said for experience, right? And you know, I know in my personal life, I say to people, I don't often wish on them some of the things that I've had happen in my life. However, that experience does color who you are. It does, you know,
shapes you.
It gives you perspective. Things that bothered me in my 20s definitely don't bother me today.
Yeah, me too.
There's something to be said about age, for sure.
Yeah.
Barry, what are your words?
I've never really put this out into the world, but in sessions I've said thoughtful zeal with a ton of fun. I do not see myself as a motivational speaker. I don't even know what a motivational speaker is, but I do strive to show that I've given thought to what I'm saying, and that I have a whole ton of zeal and energy with that thought, and have fun delivering it. So yeah, thoughtful zeal with a ton of fun.
I like that.
Yeah. Marie, anything that comes to your mind for you folks?
Working for a bilingual nonprofit, definitely I would say maybe impactful, inclusive, and I'll go with accessible. There's 3 words that comes to mind in my the environment, but it is very interesting to see and hear the words of everybody here and their business. It's very interesting.
Donna, did you want to add? You typed yours in chat, but do you want to add to it?
I put mine in the chat. Tomorrow morning, I probably have 3 more, but the minute you said it, those 3 just came immediately. I don't know why, but fun. Barry, you and I should be fun together, because I feel whenever you're with people, if they don't have fun, they're not going to remember any of it, no matter what you teach them. If they didn't leave with a smile and they're happy and that feel good. So it's something for me, whenever I organize something, I'm always want the focus to be that they left there and said it was a fun day. And I do that when I have meetings. I have a speed networking event tomorrow. I'm trying to think about before this call, like, how am I going to make this fun tomorrow? What are people going to say when they walk out the door? And I decided I'm going to order really good food. So this time it could be the little things, like we're going to do a bunch of chicken wings, and I don't know what I'm going to do, but that's what I want people to leave having fun. And that's loyal just happened to be that I feel I'm loyal but loyal and committed, it's almost the same word after I had it typed. If you're loyal, you're committed, same thing. So I am double loyal and committed to today. So that's next week I'll have 3 other words.
Absolutely.
That's true.
So keep all your words in mind because we're going to come back to those in a minute. So your brand identity, again, is your visual. It's your logos, it's your colors, it's your font, the website, the business cards. And a lot of times we focus solely on, we got to have a fantastic logo so people will remember us. And logos are great. And mine is bee's knees. So I wear my bee's knees shirt and I have bags and I have my little business cards and all my PowerPoints, they all have my little bee on it, and it's great. But at the end of the day, do people recognize what I do based solely on my logo or on what they've experienced with me? So your personality is things like your voice and your value, your sense of humor, your how you interact with your clients, if you're reliable, if you're so one example is for me is the trust and the relationships and things like that. So if someone asked me, okay, what's Bee's Knees about? And I said to them, well, Bee's Knees is event planning and my tagline, unique events perfectly planned. That is how it doesn't matter what event I'm doing. I want to give it the very best that I can. So if you had two event planners and one had a beautiful logo, beautiful website, they updated every single day, but then they were very slow to get back to you. They didn't always give you exactly what you wanted. Or you had a second person, say Bee's Knees, this is exactly me, who isn't as up on my social media as I should be. But when client contacts me, I respond immediately. I set up the times to meet with them. I'm more on time. So the personality that I have is that I want to be there, trustworthy, reliable, and on time, and still have the fun events. So those are that's the difference I find between personality and identity, is because an identity is something for sure. I was out to lunch the other day and someone brought me in something. They said, look, I got a bee on and I thought of you right away. So, and I get that a lot. People say, oh, you're the bee lady. I have nothing to do with bees, deathly afraid of bees, but that's my logo. So it really makes a difference. It does bring people to you, but your personality keeps them there.
That's a good way of looking at it, Kelly. I'm like you with the purple. Everyone knows purple's my thing. So I've discovered, because people send it to me all the time, there's a purple store in Seattle, which sells everything purple. And there's a purple store, it's either South Carolina or North Carolina, because every randomly I'll get these emails when somebody comes across the purple store because they identify with that, right? But you're
Yeah.
right, that's the identity part. That's the visual part. So I like that. Sharon.
I was at Winners a couple of weeks ago, myself and Carmelita, and a couple of the staff came up to me and said, oh, I didn't know you were Siva. I'm not.
Yep, absolutely. See, the people once they recognize the logo, they do associate it with you, but it's your personality that that really brings your brings the repetitive business. So, my next slide did not move. Okay, so this is our experience. What 3 words describe your current brand? And what 3 words do you want people to use when they are describing your business? And are those 3 words gonna be the same? So now everybody has come up with their own 3 words that they thought of their own business, but think of it in terms of your brand. What 3 words describe your brand, and will your clients have those 3 same words when they're describing you? Does that make sense?
Can I comment on my logo?
Yep.
It is a zebra. So what the hell does a zebra have to do with conflict resolution, right? Except I'm an African and I know things about zebras. So the 3 words for me is between the lines. And it lands nicely. My logo, it's a zebra sideways view, and it says, not everything is black and white. I help you to read between the lines. It's
Oh, I
perfect.
love it.
Yeah, that's very unique. I like it.
And I was at a trade show on the weekend, or sort of a community fair, I think, where I had a booth and I had my banner up with my zebra. I had a beaded zebra. In fact, I had zebra handouts. And I had traffic like you couldn't believe. It's like, what is a zebra doing on the Eastern Shore? What's this all about? Caught attention, and then you could explain the logo, and then before you know where you are, you're talking about problems people are having in their lives and conflict resolution. So I lucked in on it, but I love it. I insist it's got to be part of my life. I have zebras in my backyard, a metal sort of display that a friend bought on Marketplace and donated to the cause.
Nice.
Absolutely has meaning to you.
It has meaning to me, and it creates curiosity in an environment where you don't have animals like that, but they're familiar enough, you know.
Cool. Anyone else have any ideas of what you would describe your brand versus what your clients would say?
Well, we keep striving. I mean, we have reviews that guests actually, you know, they talk the truth, okay, about the hotel. And they do say things, that we're warm, we're friendly. They stayed in many hotels, and the staff there are very, like, hospitality, number one. They make sure that you're comfortable. And again, going back to the video that we launched, is like, we don't want you to check in, we want you to settle in. And I think a lot of the staff, we do bring that out with the staff. Like when we train them, we want, like, without the guests, what are we? Right? And a lot of them leave saying that. And a lot of our repeated guests is they look for Wilson. So we're not just pet friendly. We love all the pets that come in within reason, like, depends what they're bringing in. But we want everyone just to settle in, and that is what we tell the staff, and we aim for. And obviously, in most of the feedback, that's what we're getting back.
That's good.
Yeah.
Really?
I like the part where Miranda, where you just said about the feedback, because that's very important, isn't it? Because when you first start your business, you're really landing in a vulnerable spot because you don't really know how it's going to be received. So you know in your own mind. I mean, I know I want my business to be seen as meditative and heart spaced and community rooted, but then you're hoping that it's going to be perceived that way and received, trusted, and you want people to feel like they're moving in a transformational way, and you want to feel welcoming. So that feedback piece is important, and even at the beginning for sure. But then as you move forward, I'm in 11 years now. I did a workshop last week with DFO, and when I went in, the lady introduced me to the group, and she said, "Backed by popular demand."
Yeah.
So that says everything right there, doesn't it? I'm a repeat. They have me. The social workers, they want me every year. So it's not me they want, by the way. It's the message. It's the meditation. It's the workshops. But that leans into what you said earlier there, Delphine, about the ego, because the ego steps aside. We're all here to serve. So it's a service that we're putting out there. So I think that's huge when it comes to our brand. And yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Sharon. Barry?
Well, first of all, Sharon, I don't know you, but I would suggest to you that they want both. You are what they're, I mean, really, anybody can go and do a leadership workshop in my mind, but I bring a certain energy. So when I get rebooked, I'm being brought in for the content and so the words that I'm a big believer in the virtue of congruence. I want what I want them to feel. I want them to feel. That being said, I think the most common words I tend to hear from audiences that I work with is that it's entertaining. The content is excellent. There's going to be 3 E's, I think. And there's a certain je ne sais quoi to the energy that I bring. It's not a shtick. Carol mentioned earlier, I got a big personality. I'm 60% introvert, but when I'm on an extrovert energy, there's a gorilla coming in the room, and he's not threatening. So I think for me, energy, um, level of excellence to I pay attention to the details, and then it's entertaining. So, that kind of fits with the thoughtful zeal, ton of fun thing, but I think they would be different words. So I should also add that I have 2 brands. I have a personal brand called the Unity Guy, and I've got Epic Engage, which is my company. And the Epic Engage logo has 5 horses of different colors running together, which is Unity. And the Unity logo, Unity Guy brand has 2 birds flying around a planet, which is about Unity. So I'm trying hard to make sure that the symbols that I'm using kind of indicate what I'm about.
Absolutely. And very much like yourself, I am very much an introvert, but my whole business is being out there and entertaining people. So while our personal personalities may be very different from our brand personalities, you have to make sure you're being authentic with both.
Yeah. And
Because
and sorry, to your
no,
point, I want to be the introvert and the extrovert in the room when I'm doing my thing.
yeah,
I want to be genuine to who I am. It's not a show that I'm putting on at that point. So
yeah, absolutely. Um, so when what I've learned is that people know my logo, they know the B. They're starting to recognize the B. But if they don't know what the B actually stands for, then I haven't really done my job. So it's when the people hire me on to do the trivia nights or the escape boxes or the ladies' nights or whatever I'm doing. And I have people coming up to me saying, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you did all this. I didn't know you were so creative." And I was like, well, that obviously I'm not doing a good enough job if you don't know that that's what I'm about. So I had to start making sure that the fun part of me was out there as well, so people knew exactly what that was like. Um, and one of the things I'm branching out into down the road is funeral planning, which is not a fun and exciting thing. But I did learn in the last year that there is a need for that. So I have to try to brand myself in a way that I still have my fun and creative and bright personality, but yet in a very respectful and more dignified way for that type of event if when I do branch out that way. So you have to be very cognizant of how you're branding, what you're branding. um, Sharon, I know you do a lot of videos that are on the beach and in nature, which goes along with the connection of meditation, which is quiet and calm and nature. So you're putting those 2 things together, which makes your personality come out.
Mhm. I think too,
And
Kelly,
I
some of
think
the
too, if we
challenge.
put, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go Sharon. No, you go.
I was just going to reply to that, Kelly. And um, Barry, we talked about being our authentic self and whether we're introverts or extroverts. I think that goes with every personality. However, when you place yourself in a situation where you feel totally free and totally yourself, your true authentic self comes out. And that's the beach for me. And anytime I'm talking about meditation or mindfulness, anyways, but in particular, you're right, Kelly. So every person got their own little niche. And I keep reminding myself, stay in your own lane. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Stay in your own lane. So, I love that. Thank you for raising that, Kel.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in for a second, Barry, and then I'll go to you. When you were talking about Kelly, about people not understanding what you do, I think that's a challenge for those of us that don't have something that's tangible to describe. So I look at Miranda. Miranda has a hotel. That's something that people can fairly easily understand what it is. it's making the differentiation, right? Miranda, it's like you say, it's about creating that this is the hotel you should go to, but you don't have to tell people what a hotel is. For me to tell somebody what strategic planning is,
Mm.
and what I call process facilitation as a facilitator, nobody has a clue what that means. So I usually say something like, have you ever been in a meeting where there's somebody at the front of the room? Yeah, well, that's me. Okay, I get that. But how do you put that in a logo? How do you put that in a video? How do you put that into, description? Sometimes it's a little bit harder when you don't sort of have that product that is easily recognized or describable. So, I think sometimes there is that fine line of how do you tell everyone and when you do more than one thing, Barry, has rhymed off 3 or 4 different things. He's got a couple different brands. I have a couple different lines of business. Some people know me for one thing, they don't know me for another part of it. Oh, I didn't know you did that. Well, yeah, anyway, that was just my thoughts. Barry?
Yeah, this is just a quick comment back to Kelly. I tell you, if you start a funeral event planning thing, I would want my funeral to be fun. And I think there's an audience out there that I've been to 2 funerals over the last 6 months, and there was so much freaking laughter. It was such a celebration of life. So, yeah, it's just a thought. I think there's people out there who want a fun funeral. In fact, funeral starts with the word fun. So I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. So let me get to my notes here. So for me, bee's knees, and I don't know if anybody knows remembers the meaning from way back when. So the bee's knees means something, I'm just going to read it here, something or someone that is excellent, outstanding, or of absolute highest quality. So when I started figuring out, I knew all along I wanted to be an event planner. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I enjoy that. I love putting stuff together. I love planning things. I love organizing. I like being in charge. My family hates it, but I love being in charge. So when I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? And somebody had said the word bee's knees to me. Oh, you're the bee's knees. And I was like, you know what? I've heard that saying for about 50 years now. What does it actually mean? And when I looked it up, I was like, that's exactly what I want my business to be. I want people to think if you're going to do something, you're going to do it to the very best of your ability, and no one else is going to do it any better. So I said, that's the brand I want to be. So that's how I started building my brand identity was I know what I want it to be. I know what I want it to look like, and that's how I'm going to go about it. So just making sure that what you're putting out there is you and what you want it to be. Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they start a business because they know there's a problem they can solve. Make sure your personality helps you to solve that problem so that you're bigger than just that one little thing that you start.
Yeah.
So people don't connect with logos, they connect with people. Your brand identity helps people recognize your business, and your brand personality helps them remember it. And your reputation is what turns them into the customers into advocates. So like you said, Sharon, here by popular demand or here back again, they knew that they could have got anybody to come in and do meditation, but they got you to come back because they liked what you had to offer. So that's my presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing there now. And we can just chat about it now.
That's awesome, Kelly. Thank you. So I guess my question is brand personality versus Carol Spicer's personality. Are they the one and the same when you're a solopreneur? And there's not necessarily for Kelly to answer, but like sort of everyone's thoughts, because I know, just to bring it back a bit, I know when I first started my business, it was like, okay, my business Facebook page is not going to have anything personal, right? It's going to be just business. Like I can't put the cats on there, and I can't put, me hanging out at an event or whatever, like it was just had to be business, had to be business. But to the conversation Sharon and Barry had earlier, that they're bringing Sharon back partly because of, yes, the services she's offering, but partly because of her. And I know, and I've had this conversation with Marie about the succession planning, because everyone's like, you've got something to sell. And no, I don't. They hire Carol. They don't hire Spicer Facilitation. They hire Carol Spicer, you know. So to me, sometimes those blur, Kelly. So I'm interested in your and everyone's thoughts on kind of how you balance all that.
It's so what I have it written here. Actually, this statement is that many people start their business based on their expertise, their passion, their wanting to do something. Um, and often the entrepreneur is the brand. So your personality, people aren't just going to buy a facilitator. They're going to buy the facilitator that has this much knowledge and this much, has makes it fun and has like 14 spreadsheets and
Charts everywhere, post-it notes.
exactly.
Okay,
I
cool.
could jump
Barry,
in
your
here
thoughts?
now if you want to.
Um,
Go ahead.
Barry's got his hand up, and Sharon, and then I'll come to you.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion personally that I will not separate who I am with what I do. Now that doesn't mean that you're going to hear about my cousin's recent bout of cancer, which by the way she doesn't have, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not going to share that stuff, but my favorite band in the world who a student introduced me to in 2010, they're constantly putting out videos and interviews and chats about things that they believe in, and it makes me want to follow them even more. So I think in my case, I want my audiences to know that I'm a nerd and I love it, and I want them to understand what they're getting. I don't want them to get surprised when I do my sessions. The other thing I want to offer up, and if it's okay, I've got a poster of 118 virtues that I think are useful for identifying those words, Kelly, that you said, and so I can send that out to you all. I know I've picked my top four that I want people to experience, whether they name it or not. But to your question, I want them to know what they're getting. And I
Yeah.
don't want to go into a workshop or a keynote and pretend to be something that I'm not. That they're going to get Barry, and it's a professional Barry, but it's Barry. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to say, I landed on the cats are on the business Facebook page, and the different things, because it is part of who I am, right? And people want to know that they're people will ask me, how are Patches doing? How Pepper doing? What are they doing? Back in the day when it was Velcro, I was sharing it with Kelly. I used to have two computers set up when I first started, and one would be the participant view, and my previous cat Velcro went and sat on the computer and figured out how to turn the camera on. So I'm shooting across Canada to this, trying to be so professional doing this workshop. And here's my cat who triggered the camera on the computer he was sitting on and went up to the Yukon and beyond, like it was hilarious. But in times of COVID, people like that, that was, and to your point, Barry, it was real, it was genuine, it's authentic, right? Sharon.
I was just going to say, when I started doing my training to become a meditation teacher, I just put on this, I got to become a teacher. And I was trying to be a meditation teacher. And I'd be getting up doing my script and they'd be testing me and all that. And it was so nerve-wracking to try to be. And midway through, I said, screw this. I'm done pretending and trying to act like a meditation teacher. And I just got up there and I just broke out madly off in all directions. And it was the best review I got from my teachers, because we're expected to show up the way we are, not the way the world perceives it or the way it's supposed to be. It's what we're bringing. So yeah, just got to be us. Hey.
And I think we've tossed this word around a few times here this morning. I think authenticity, right? Being your true self, just like you said, Sharon. Um, you know, if I'm sharing this story not too long ago that I went into previous employment, and our boss had swapped myself and a colleague out last minute for a client assignment. And it was a gender difference. So it was supposed to be my male colleague. She sent me in, and I walk in, and it's a high tech environmental company, all men, and you could see on their face when I walked in, what are we going to do with her? Right. And this was a number of years ago. And you could just like kind of feel this tension of what do we do with a woman? Like women don't work in our space. And it was, I mean, I was there for 5 days. So like on day one, we're starting off with this kind of tension. And there were two gentlemen, this was in Ontario, and there were two gentlemen that were waiting to come in, and they were stuck at the border coming from Buffalo. And it happened to be around March, which is lead up to playoff time for hockey. I'm a diehard Leafs fan, and if you're a Leafs fan, you are not a Sabres fan. So, automatic. So I said something about hockey bashing. And they're like, yes, give it to them when they come here. Give it to them, give it to them. And it just broke the ice. They were like, okay, she's real. Right. And so I could have stayed, the professional woman, whatever. But we hockey bashed for 5 days and had a ball. And by the third night, the third morning, they came in and they were hilarious. They're like, man, we love it up here. And I said, oh, yeah, why is that? They said, oh, man, you got this channel. It's called TSN. There's a hockey game on every night. So they were just totally thrilled. But it became part of, but it didn't take away from my professionalism of teaching in the room, but it made me a person to them. And, yes, they could drop an F-bomb once in a while, and I wasn't going to be, freaked out or whatever. But, it's finding those connections. I think that's really important. Barry.
I have to apologize. The only reason I'm talking, my chat's not working. I will put comments in the chat, so
Okay.
my apologies for that. I want to share a really quick story, and I'll do it really quickly. I was at a youth symposium where educators and students got together at MUN. It was about, I'm guessing, 11, 12 years ago. And it was a panel of students up there, and somebody in the audience said, what do you want from your teachers? And this one young woman said something very profound. I think it's true, whatever age the audience is. She said, we want to know they're human. Coming in and preaching and being this super, guru thing is not what they wanted. They wanted real. And even as you can't see them, but Pinky and the Brain pillows up here, up here. But they were sent to me by a student in Truro, Nova Scotia, who attended my session, and I had mentioned that I love Pinky and the Brain, and she made those. So when I do my podcast, they're in this background because it represents who I am. But yeah, the student said, we want to know you're human.
Yeah. I think that's cool. Thank you. Delphine.
Could I add something? There's this thing about thinking that you have to behave like a teacher, and so you're on stage and it's not really you and the whole thing, Sharon. I had that anxiety many years ago. I was working in South Africa, and they changed the labor laws, sort of post the apartheid thing, and they modeled it after the Canadian labor laws. And so, seeing as I'm a Canadian, I had to give a talk to the general managers in this business, first public talk. And it's like, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an expert. What am I going to do? My colleague in the office next to me, she's a teacher, but she had a master's degree in adult education. And she said, your job is not to teach. Your job is to connect what they already know, with the knowledge already in the room with the theory that they need to understand and integrate. From then, my favorite thing to do, well, one of my favorite things to do is to facilitate learning. I don't feel responsible for educating them. My job is to facilitate a conversation where the knowledge erupts and the exchange happens. And then my job is to summarize what's already in the room rather than to educate. One of the greatest breakthroughs for me, I will thank Felicity Miller forever after for teaching me about adult education.
Yeah, absolutely. Delphine, you're speaking to my heart, because as when I worked for the provincial government, we had our whole team were facilitators, and one of them was a former teacher. So we had these phenomenal conversations around facilitating learning versus pedagogy and andragogy and all these kinds of things. And you're not teaching. The former teacher used to say, you're not teaching. We're not the experts. We're not teaching.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things that kind of helped me differentiate it was exactly that. I facilitate learning, which is very different than teaching. But when I was a first aid instructor, I was teaching, because in first aid, there's right and wrong, right? So
Yeah.
you actually
Yeah.
have to demonstrate the skill and you have to pass.
Yeah.
Facilitating learning is completely different.
Mm.
It's about, like you say, opening the mind and bringing them together. And people say to me, you must know a whole lot of stuff. You do bees, you do oil and gas, you do agriculture. And I said, no, I know nothing. The people in the room know everything.
Yeah.
But when I
Yeah.
go to Carmelita or I go to Sharon, I am looking to them for the experts to guide me to connect. Like you say, they've got the teaching in their skill.
Yeah.
And, but again, it's not a right or wrong. As Carmelita so infamously will tell you, you get into a pose and she said, now, if you feel you could do this and you could change this, and there's no right or wrong, you can do the pose, whatever works for you. But
Yeah.
it's creating
Yeah.
that safe space. I think that's what's really important, right? It is creating that safe space.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I guess one of my biggest takeaways from the brand identity, brand personality thing is if I asked my clients to describe my logo, they probably couldn't. But if I asked them to describe my business, I hope they can. Right? Because the logo, they're gonna be like, it has yellow, has black, has a bee, but will they know much more than that? But will they know that, hey, you did this event, you do trivia Thursday nights, and you do music bingo, and that's really cool. And so as long as they know what I'm doing, and that little trigger of the logo is there, then I think I've done okay with that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Donna and Marie, what are you folks hearing from some of your clients and people that you're working with? Do you hear anything related to this kind of conversation?
And I'm just thinking here, because before I started, so it's going to be 3 years, I'm with Horizon in September. So before that, it was called Red A TNL. So it's an abbreviation for something in French, like the Employability and Employment
Mhm.
Network. So of course, the Anglophone were like, what is Red A? And it's complicated also to explain it. And then eventually they changed it for Horizon TNL. And now sometimes when we're like, we're Horizon TNL, and sometimes we're like, are you the hotel in Deer Lake? No. There's always a bit, not always, we're starting to be a bit more known also with the new name. And we're like the French people. But now that I'm a bit more in the events on the West Coast and in Labrador, so they know I'm the French lady from Horizon. But sometimes the name, it's not necessarily, and TNL is Newfoundland Labrador, but in French. So yeah, it's we'll have to verify how do people really perceive the name. But I know they recognize me and they're like, yes, she's the French lady that works for the nonprofit. But yeah, definitely I've been thinking about our branding as well. And yeah, that's very interesting.
Mhm. Excellent. Thank you. Donna, what about the folks you work with?
Mine is, I guess it's not really different, but because I'm under an umbrella of a large company, it's their branding that I've got. It's not a challenge, it's a good branding. They've got it globally around the world, but and I'm working on that, trying to narrow it down to the branding in the Maritimes.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to do all of my postings where I don't just say BNI, it's always BNI Maritimes. So people start to know it for this area and forget the rest of the world. Not that we don't care about the rest of the world, because we do, but
Mhm.
for me in this business, I need the Maritimes to be something that people are looking at. So I'm working with that. So I have larger followings on my personal Instagram because I've been on it for many, 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 many years than what I do on my business. And I try not to mix the two, but I'm challenging, I'm figuring, I mix the two on stories, but I don't on my personal Instagram. But in stories, I put it in my personal, only because I'm just trying to figure it all out of
Yeah.
keeping me, because I'm still going to be me when someone taught me that years ago, don't have your business be you, because you can move on and the business is going to stay. So always make sure your branding as you are as a person is what people are following. So if you go to another business, they come with you because it's you they're following, not the business. So, and I'm not having the challenge with it this time, but I'm working it into my me. And
Mhm.
because I now represent, it's different for me. I am the person that would organize all the socials and the get-togethers and let's do this and let's do that and let's do that. And that's who I always was. But in the business that I'm in now, I can't be that person so much because I represent however many different companies are part of the organization now. So I can't be the one showing sangria Sundays every afternoon or Friday nights down at the whatever. So I'm trying to find that line of me that I'm always going to be that person versus the person now represents all of these companies. So it's a little bit different because I still want to be me and what I do out there in
Yeah.
my personal exciting
Absolutely.
life. That's not exciting really, but I like it. I pretend it is, so it makes me feel good.
And Miranda, I would think that you probably face some of the same struggles as you mentioned right off the top. You're under a national brand that you need to adhere to, yet you want to be known as being different than Marie. A
I
different
like
horizon.
that. I like that. And it's nice that I met her. Like, I love that. Um, but yes, we do. Like, we have to strive, obviously, for certain percentage, and we have to, certain things with brand. But I just feel a brand only goes so far. Like, if you've got the hospitality and you've got friendly staff and your hotel is clean and you own up to that, then that's what's going to bring people back. Right. And if they've got dogs, like the dogs are in my office all the time. There's some dogs that know when they're coming in, they just take the turn and come on in here. So, that's what brings people back.
Yep.
A hotel, I always say this to the staff, a hotel is only as strong as the people inside of it. What you're going
I
to
would
give
agree.
and what you're going to put out there, right?
Yeah, I would agree. Carmelita, anything you'd like to add from your perspective?
To tell you the truth, I don't know how I kind of messed up at the very beginning because I didn't read 3 words and I think I told you probably 20. But no, I'm just listening, finding it all very interesting, and I'm liking that you have a brand personality that you really have to focus on too. I really do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say for you, Carmelita, you've created a niche space. You're not a yoga studio that does 14 different types of yoga. I think Sharon talked about picking your lane and staying in your lane. So I think you've done a really good job of that. Um, and I say that as your client because I've attended your classes. Um, but I think that is part of your identity is that you've created this safe space for certain those of us of a certain age. You have younger people, but generally majority of your clients, I think, are a little bit older because you're creating a space for us to age well. And that's I think a big part of your identity from my perspective.
Yeah, and I keep always mentioning about the balance part of it, because I've been teaching for 16 years, and I have realized you can kind of get lost in your business and let other things go, including self-care. So I've learned that, and I kind of always want to say keep that balance in everything we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Barry can attest to that because Barry and I were involved in a group and he stepped back because it wasn't suiting him personally. He needed to step back and shared that openly with the group saying, I'm stepping back to take care of me. And we were all applauding. Like nobody looks
Yep.
on that with I respect him much more for doing that than failing, and saying like this just isn't gonna work. So I love that
Yeah, and
message of that.
he's showing other people that way, who
Mhm.
probably are in the same position of, spending that much time on work. And they're saying to Barry, and hopefully saying to me, yeah, there really is a lot more to life and and a lot more important things. Yes, our business is wonderful and we're helping people with that, but think of the other things too, and think of yourself too, and take care.
Absolutely. Barry, hopefully you don't mind me sharing that a little bit, but go ahead.
Not at all. Yeah, I'm reminded, and I'm preaching to the converted here. We can't serve the people we most want to serve unless we take care of ourselves. So that was part of that decision. I needed to put my energies into things that mattered. A quick other thought. I keep thinking when I think of brand, and by the way, Kelly, this was wonderful. It reminded me so much of the importance of symbols versus experience, what those things are. But I think of of Prince as an artist. And when the record label, when he separated with them, they wouldn't let him use his name. So he became the artist formerly known as Prince. And everybody ridiculed him. But that's why he did it. He said he still wanted to be known as Prince. It was his name, And I'm also reminded of Haagen-Dazs. And my understanding of Haagen-Dazs is that it's not a real word. Somebody invented it in New Jersey. And it took a while for people. Now they think Haagen-Dazs is really good ice cream. So sometimes you got to stick with that name or whatever until people go, oh. So patience and persistence, I think we talked about at the beginning of this. But yeah, I often think of Prince. Prince, when you hear the word Prince as an artist, I know who you're talking about, and I know even years after he's passed. So
yeah, absolutely. I think this has been, I echo your comments, Barry. I think this has been fabulous. Kelly, you stepped up for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we certainly still have lots of time if everyone wants to continue any of the part of the conversation. Certainly not rushing you off. If you do want to head out, we can. If there's anything that you have coming up that you want folks to know about, Donna, you mentioned you have speed networking, but we're a little too far to make it to that if it's in person. I know I mentioned a couple times now, Carmelita's got yoga on the beach in Deer Lake tonight. Anyone on the west coast of the island. But is there anything else that folks want to share that you've got coming up that you want folks to know about?
Yeah, I'm going to chime in. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Barry. No, go ahead.
I'm going to chime in one last time. I put this up on Facebook and LinkedIn recently. On Fridays, if you're ever in St. John's or Mount Pearl, we'll say put the Pearl, on a Friday, Friday mornings, the first Friday of each month, I'm going to kind of do the group that we were in, where speakers and facilitators can come, and it's like the Stoics meeting at the painted porch. So I'm going to have my Persian black tea, and anybody who shows up, we can talk ideas around educating and teaching and facilitating and all that cool stuff. And it's the first Friday at my new favorite place. Somebody called me the Rocket Man the other day, but the Rocket in Mount Pearl loves it there. Anyway.
It's lovely.
Loves it.
Loves it.
Learning Persian and Arabic as I'm going there. Just, oh my God, it's incredible.
Sharon.
Thank you, Kelly. Fantastic. Planted some great seeds this morning. Some other things I'm going to plug in now to my ChatGPT personal assistant that I've hired. I've had for about 6 months now. Thank you for that. And Carol, thanks again for hosting this morning. And Barry, you ever come to the West Coast? Come on, you're all welcome to come to the West Coast. Come on.
I hope to be there in the future. I got a keynote in Gander on Thursday, so hopefully I get back on the road and start doing some stuff across the province.
There you go.
Nice.
Let us know when you're coming.
We would treat you some good over here.
Oh, I know you would.
Hey, Miranda. Lost it, Miranda.
I think
That's
there's a nice hotel in Deer Lake you could stay.
I've heard.
So I encourage
Kelly,
you to
this
follow
has
each
been
other.
great. Oh, sorry.
I just need to, who's speaking?
Delphine, you go, and then Miranda.
Yes, somebody mentioned speaking to ChatGPT. I have a confession to make. While we were doing all this, I sent the same message to Chat and to Claude. And I said, analyze my brand ID versus my brand personality and my personal ID versus the business ID. You should read the stuff they wrote.
Were you
I don't have
surprised by
time to
it?
read it all, but completely different approach. The one is analyzing stuff like the font and the size. That's Claude. Before it gets into an incredibly clunky analysis of all of the stuff that it knows about me.
Right.
ChatGPT says, you're not a mediator, you're a process analyst.
Oh, well, there you go.
So yeah, new perspectives, but the truth is somewhere else. But anyway, I just thought I'd share. I play with AI, but I also
Cool.
regularly tell it to stop lying.
And there's a lot of I've gone to a bunch of different workshops. I think I'm at a space where I'm okay with what I do with it right now, but there's a lot of things about that. It's not, don't let it be a people pleaser. You wouldn't let your intern, lie to you. You would be questioning them and pushing back. So do the same thing. So thank you for that
Exactly.
reminder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I really, really, it was my first visit. I really enjoyed it. I'll be back.
Excellent. Thank you. Miranda.
Kelly, this was great. Amazing. I won't forget the bee at all. And I'm just going to end because I do have to run. We have 49 people for lunch today. But I like the little takeaways because I like them putting it on the staff communication board. And the three things, what I'm going to put out there today is 3 words that we hope the guests are saying about us. Versus then I will go in and get 3 reviews. And I like to put the negative out there sometimes too, because we do have some negative, mostly about the pool and the hot tub or whatever, but it's still got to go out. And then I'm going to say, this is 3 things that I found in the reviews today that your guests said about you this week. So I really like that. Owning up to what our identity is and our personality.
That's
So
awesome. I
thank
love
you
that,
so much,
Miranda.
and I'll see you guys next month, hopefully.
Excellent. Well, I might pause for the summer, only
Okay.
because folks
Yep.
are often busy in the summer.
Yep.
And come back in September. So stay tuned, follow social media and the newsletter to get informed on that. If anyone has any topics, please let me know. We've covered, I think Sharon and Carm have been to most of these. We've covered oodles and oodles of topics. So we're some of them we're recycling every now and then because things change. But if there's certain topics, please let me know for sure. But thank you, Miranda. I think that's an awesome way to see that you're able to apply something from this way.
Thanks. See you guys later.
See ya. Carmelita, you're on mute.
Sorry,
That's
I
okay.
just wanted to say thank you, Carol and Kelly. This was awesome again this morning. And I love when we get together like this and we get to actually know people. I feel like I know Barry pretty well now. and that's a good thing, Barry.
Yep.
And yeah, I just love meeting new people and connecting. And we all find ways to connect with each other for sure. So again, just my thanks. Looking forward to when we do this again, Carol.
Excellent. Thank you. And that to me is why I do what I do. If you folks want to show up, I will continue to provide the platform and the space. I do think it's awesome that we're reaching beyond our local community by doing this, and we're expanding, talking to new people, learning from new people. And I think that's what's really important. Especially those, I'm speaking now as a solopreneur. Sometimes we get so much in our own space. It's just us. And, it's just nice to know there's others doing the same path and maybe we can learn from them as well. So I really appreciate you folks continuing to show up. So I would encourage that you all follow each other. Look for socials and see what's on the go. So if you are out and about and traveling around, I know Kelly does stuff through the winter, but like Carm kind of changes in the summer. So follow Bee's Knees because I'm sure there's a whole slate of summer things that are going to be coming. Sharon, what have you got on the go?
Nothing. I'm working on a project, a big project for the fall. I haven't rolled out yet, but I'm
Okay.
still doing I usually just do the beach meditations. But one thing I wanted to say in closing was, even though we're busy in our own businesses, never forget that we're rooting for each other. We
Mhm.
might get delayed, we might get stuck in our own social media, but 100% sure we have to root for each other and we have to raise each other up. So thanks. I'm going to sign off now.
Okay,
Bye.
see ya. Thank you.
See ya.
Donna.
Oh, I just had a quick one. As Carol just realized, you can come to Halifax quicker than you can go to St. John's almost.
Yes.
So look, she just did all the math on it, or at least coming across the ferry. So if anybody's coming to Halifax way, certainly reach out. I love company. That's the highlight of moving here, especially people from Newfoundland. That's even way better. So if you're coming to Halifax, certainly reach out, and we're not that far away. Don't go to St. John's, other than Barrie, of course.
Thank you, Donna. Yes, it was actually a very interesting experience. I did my discovery trip, and it's less mileage and less of a ferry cost as long as I don't take cabins than it is the mileage I charge to drive to St. John's, especially to get to Cape Breton. Get down to Halifax is a little bit more. It probably would work out to be about the same. But that's kind of being, because I'm only 2.5 hours from the ferry here. So that would be my pitch to some clients in Cape Breton is I would charge you less than what I would charge a client in St. John's. So
Yeah.
kind of an interesting thing, for sure. But yes, Donna is very welcoming. I had the honor and pleasure of connecting with her twice on my little whirlwind trip. So
We had short little visits, but they were good.
yes, she's a great baker too, if you're looking for a
I baked
sweet.
that day. No, I can't remember. I can't remember
You
what I
did.
baked that day.
Barry.
I have a board meeting to run to, but I just wanted to say, Carol, if it's okay, I will send those two little things that I mentioned earlier to you if you want to distribute.
I will do.
Yeah, and thanks very much. This was absolutely wonderful. Thanks, Kelly. Very useful. Going to walk away with some reminders and some new gems. So appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you. Carmelita,
I,
unmute again.
Sorry. I just wondered, Kelly, if you're going to share your slideshow.
I can do that. Yep.
Yeah. So I did take some notes, but yeah, I would like to go over that again for sure.
Absolutely. Yep. I'll send that along to Carol and she can forward it on to everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely.
Thanks.
I will do that. All right, folks, as I like to say, I'm going to give you 9 minutes back of your day. Use it wisely. Don't tell anyone. Merci beaucoup. À bientôt. À la prochaine. Nemostis. We'll see you next time. Enjoy your summer. Have a fantastic, safe summer, and we'll connect in the fall once again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Merci.
you. Bye.